Okay, it's day 2 here in Michigan in the Lake St. Clair area, and we're sampling a very different kind of environment today. Yesterday we were out on the lake and looking at some of the bays of that lake. This is obviously a river system, relatively small stream, near a road, so we're kind of looking at disturbed areas to a certain extent. Maybe you can tell us what your main focus is in this kind of environment.
Yeah, well, this is the Belle River. It's one of the more diverse rivers for mussels in the whole state of Michigan. It doesn't look very big. It doesn't look particularly nice. It's very turbid, but it's very productive. And although disturbed, you can see a lot of cutting and a lot of gravel bars that are forming. A lot of that's because there's excessive erosion coming out. A lot of farm practices have disturbed the riparian zone. There's a lot of what we call tile drains in the area, which basically they bury the headwater streams, and then you have basically pipes underneath the farm fields that will allow for runoff to come off the fields very quickly, so you can plant earlier. You won't have flooded fields and so on. But that brings a lot of the sediment into the stream and causes the turbidity to increase and so on. So we're seeing a fairly disturbed system here. But it's still fairly intact for its mussel diversity. We were here 2 days ago and found at a bridge crossing about 3 or 4 kilometers upstream, we found 20 species of mussels.
Okay, so we're out here today on the Belle River, and we're looking at mussel diversity in this river using a time search technique. The Belle River is on the Michigan side of the St. Clair River. It's not too far away from where we're doing our St. Clair Delta work. There's a huge diversity of mussels in this stream. We've already found 16 species alive in about 3 person hours of timed search. So there's 3 of us, and we searched for about an hour. There are some very rare species in this river, including snuffbox mussels and round hickory nut mussels. We're going to be taking tissue samples for several of the studies that are ongoing in my lab. And Matt's study, we're looking at, in particular, these fat muckets. We're going to be taking tissue samples and looking at gene flow within and among populations in the refuges in the St. Clair Delta. So this is the Belle River. We've got some very interesting species names as well. We've got three ridges and kidney shells and round pigtoes and round hickory nuts, endangered species in Michigan. A snuff box here, which is an endangered species in Michigan and in Canada. We've got white heel splitters, and we've got pimplebacks, wabash pigtoes, pocketbooks, a mucket, maple leaf mussels, and we've got fluted shells.
Peter's only prosper. Another day, really prosper, I guess. Lots of shells. So, on occasion you find some mussels pretty close together, and I just found 2 very close to each other. That's the big pocketbook, I think he said. It's pretty large, about the size of my hand almost. You can see. And right next to it, pretty much burrowed into the same hole, was this guy, which is a what do we got here?
Fluted shell.
A fluted shell. So a fluted shell, 2 different species, more or less.
2 different subfamilies.
2 different subfamilies, and they were more or less touching each other in the sand.
as they were burrowed in, they were pretty much like this in the sand, right next to each other. So there you have quite different species living very close together in that case.
And one creeper, S. undulatus. And we have some shells. We have a shell of, yeah, just shells.
Better do species and then shells.
No, shells first and then
Softbox. Frank Kidney.
T-R-I. Shells.
So this is the portion of the collecting which is very much like Halloween. You come back and you dump out your haul and you go through it, sort out your high valuable ones from your sort of common ones, your full candy bars from your apples or
apples.
whatever.
You don't need them.
You don't need apples. But you can see they're quickly sorting these things by eye into different species, and quite a few different things. What's your estimate on number of species in this site?
I'm just having a peek yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15 species.
15 species, and we looked for an hour and a half. So that's 4.5 person hours of searching 15 species and quite a good number of individuals. Can you tell us what you're doing with the sample there?
I'm taking a tissue clip from the mantle. So this is a maple leaf mussel, and I gently pry this thing open, and at the edge of the shell is where the mantle is, and that's actually the shell producing tissue. And I take a small clip right off the edge, put that in 95% ethanol, and from this we can extract DNA, and from the extracted DNA we can amplify different parts of the genome. Specifically, we amplify microsatellite markers, which are nuclear repeating sections of the nuclear genome, usually very hypervariable within species.
Thank you. And this doesn't really harm them. I noticed you're throwing them back in the water.
You know, they don't, especially larger species can handle a clip like this. There's been some studies done. Mantle biopsies an effective means of taking tissue for DNA analysis or for studies of pollutants and toxins that it might be in their tissues as well.
And then they'll survive once they're back in the water.
Yep.
So it's actually pretty hard work mucking your way through this river all the way up, searching the sand sort of inch by inch. Matt, how do you feel about field work?
It's fantastic.
You love it, eh?
Oh yeah.
It's hard to beat it in a way.
There's something in human nature that urges you not to stick your hands into turbid water and then feel around in the mud. There's some reward in it.
Fortunately, we don't have any venomous snakes in this part of the world.
Yeah, there are certainly...
Under similar conditions in the southeastern United States, we'd be worried about cottonmouths and copperheads and all sorts of good things to worry about.
And you certainly wouldn't sample this way in the Amazon. But you can do it here.
There you go.
What'd you get?
Blade heel splitter.
Nice.
Dead. It's really heavy.
What you got there?
heel splitter-ish. White heel splitter.
With mud?
With mud.
Good show. How disappointing for you.
Yeah, I agree.
So here's an interesting thing. 2 rocks.
Wow.
That's a large shell.
White heel splitter, I think.
Big white heel splitter, I think.
Here's a heel splitter, but it's made of metal.
That's our half-hour soup.
I'm only good at finding the dead ones.
Hmm?
Maybe you're killing me.
I smell you coming.